Hey everybody, it's Jax again from your Popcorn Review Podcast. Today's will be my episode 104, AEW Dynamite from 8/19/2026. Now, this show had a lot going on. A lot of people online are already saying that it was a waste of an episode, that it was a waste of this, waste of that. I felt like this show actually built up a lot for All In. And like I said, people online are complaining. But to be honest with you, this might have been one of their better shows, in my opinion. Will Ospreay did get some help with the United Empire versus the Don Callis family. And he said that he wasn't sure he was going to get all the help, but he did get two guys to help him out. Decent trios match, showed off the opening of the show. Now, what was odd though is like the two guys from the United Empire, I'm not too familiar with their names, so nobody kill me on that. They were actually with Ospreay and excited for him to be the champion. Like, they were with him, they had his back, but that just shows that Don Callis' family is nothing without him, if you think about it, because they just took an L opening match of the day. And the commentary kept saying Don Callis was not in today. So what's Don Callis doing that he didn't show up for Dynamite? Now, you also had a little segment with Okada with Renee. He pretty much saying that he'd be happy if him or Kyle brought the title back to the family. He just hopes Kyle feels the same way. Now, I've been saying for a minute now, Okada is the damn problem with the family. You guys were good until Okada got there. Now you have two issues. You have Okada and you have Kevin Knight, but Okada was the main issue when it started. Again, he says that he feels Kyle's the same way. And right after that, you had our boy Kyle, the Proto Star Fletcher, say his full fucking name, come out in his pink pink suit. Now, I'm surprised they didn't allow him to change the title strap to pink. They did do it for TNT briefly. But, he's doing his thing. He comes out, talks with Tony, and he pretty much says, Okada, if you know what family means, then you're just going to step aside and do what you have to do. And before he could say anything or get into more detail, putting Okada in his place, saying, hey, you better know your place, you had Takeshita, done with G1, comes back and pretty much takes it to the champion. Takes the champion out, stands triumphant over the champion with his title over his head. But where's Okada? Okada said he's all about family. Where is Okada in all of this? Okada didn't show up. Okada didn't have his family's back. So what do you guys think? Like I said, Okada full of shit. Okada is full of shit, but he's not going to help his boy or his brother, Kyle Fletcher. We later had Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay face to face. Now, Will Ospreay looks pissed during these segments. And I mentioned before, when Kenny Omega wears his suit, that's more of his heel persona. And he's definitely been showing it the last couple weeks. You had, what's his name? Will Ospreay pretty much said, hey man, I looked up to you. You were a hero to me. What you guys did in New Japan and around the world, he goes like, I wanted to do wrestling just like that and be just as good as you. And pretty much gave him his flowers, But then Kenny Omega goes, well, you were nothing special. I beat you. It was nothing. You were easy to beat. I could see the potential you got, but back in the day, you was nothing. Pretty much talk shit to him. Now they go back and forth for a little bit. Will Ospreay continue to get more mad and more mad. And for some reason, like I mentioned, Kenny's turning into a heel, or in my opinion, Kenny's a heel. He talks about Will Ospreay's son, saying, maybe your son will look up to a real hero like me at Wembley. And that's when they kind of got into it. Security had to get involved. Now, what's really odd to me, though, is that you have these two guys complaining about Don Callis, complaining about the stuff they did. And he keeps throwing in Will's face like, yeah, you joined Don Callis and you took me out for a while, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, yeah, I can't sleep at night because of what I did to you, because that win is tainted. And he goes, there you go. You said it. So technically, instead of you me being 1-1, I'm 2-0 over you because you needed help to beat me. That made shit even worse. Now, I will tell you that he tells Kenny, I'm going to do it alone. But again, he brings up his son. That's the problem that I don't think he should have done, was bring up someone's child. But that's just me. You had a TBS four-way championship match, Sheeta versus Persephone versus Stat Daddy Chris Statlander, and your new TBS champion, Maya World. Now, I can't complain about this match, honestly. These girls are definitely helping put Maya World over. I don't want to say that she's 100% ready for the limelight, but she's doing her thing, guys. Maya World is growing right before our eyes. They're creating a new star in Maya World that if she continues with this trajectory, she probably will be women's champion in a couple years. Like, she's doing her thing. She's in the ring with Persephone, CMLL World Women's Champion, former champion for TBS and Women's Champion Sheeta and Chris Statlander. I mean, they're just putting more bodies under her resume. Now, she won the week before. I think she wrestled Persephone before, one-on-one. I think this is either her second or third title defense. I'm not 100% sure. I think this is her third. But now still, this is her second or third title defense, and she's coming out on top. And her and Persephone and Sheeta had an issue at one point. They were fighting each other directly, and then Chris Statlander and Maya World wrestled each other one-on-one by themselves. They all showed each other like some type of respect. And who ate the pin though? Chris Statlander ate the pin off of Maya World. Didn't expect that. I thought it would have been Sheeta. But Chris Statlander was fucking pissed after the match. Pissed after the match. Now, what's odd is she turning heel again? It didn't work the last time. Is it possible that she can turn heel this time and turn heel this time and it actually work? Last time it didn't work for me. She was with Stokely. I personally didn't feel like it worked, but we'll see, guys. Chris Statlander was really pissed to the point she didn't even hug. At least I didn't catch it. She didn't hug or shake hands with Maya World or raise her hand after the match. Nothing. She kind of like looked distraught and rolled out the ring. Maya World was left by herself in the middle. So is Chris Statlander turning heel? Is she joining Sheeta and them to go against or try to get the TBS championship? Y'all let me know. The Brawling Birds were in there pretty much telling them that they're going to win on their soil. I don't know what's going on with this match. I think Brawling Birds would be the only ones to take the titles from the Divine Dominion personally. And also with the Divine Dominion possibly Megan Bayne from Divine Dominion possibly going to WWE. It could be the ones that take the title off of them. Like I said, I feel like the Brawling Birds wrestled a better caliber of competitors compared to the Divine Dominion, but that's just me. Now, you did have one of the Continental Cup matches. You had Jay White versus Jon Moxley. This match was pretty good, but I didn't expect the outcome. I thought Jay White was going to take this. And I know people are like, are you crazy? Yes, Jay White deserves to be a singles champion in AEW. He deserves a shot to run with the title or a title. Yes, he was a trios champion. At one point, he stole, I think, MJF's title a few years ago. But Jay White deserves to be a singles champ. When would that happen? I'm not 100% sure, but this match went back and forth. A lot of submissions, a lot of close 3 pinfalls, but Moxley chokes out Jay White. I am shocked. I'm not even going to lie. I am 100% shocked on this. Now, I will say, right after this match, though, you had the dogs attack Jay White. The conglomeration came in to save. You just had total mayhem. The rest of the Death Riders came in, total mayhem in the ring. Like, it was all over the place. Now, what I will say is that looked like Mox was actually going to go shake hands or, give Jay White his props, kind of like what he did to Jungle Boy Jack Perry last week. And that wasn't the case. Like I said, he got jumped by the dogs. The conglomeration came in. It was just everybody named Mama came out. Like, it was insane. Ricochet comes out. Brodito comes out. Hangman comes out. And pretty much the dogs, Gabe Kidd is back from the G1 as well. So the dogs are complete with their trio. You have Ricochet and his trio, possibly with the Lethal Twist as well. And Brodito's like, yo, we're not on the card for Wembley. So how about we run this? Whoever wants to challenge for the title, come get some. And there's been a lot of chatter online. Austin Creed and Kofi, their contract or their non-compete clause is gone. Are they showing up to this match? And is it going to be a new day? Don't know if that's what they're going to call themselves. Maybe they could call themselves Day One or, some shit. I don't know. But it seems like Swerve is going to have some type of backup for when he joins that trios match. But we'll see, guys. You had a quick match with Andrade. Honestly, it was like a super quick match. It was some guy named Cruz. I forgot what his name was, but Cruz was pretty much talking shit, translating for MJF. He was like, hey, if Andrade was here right now, I'd throw a match with him. So boom, impromptu match. Andrade comes out, fucking destroys him within less than 3 minutes. Calls MJF out. His music plays. MJF kept saying that he was in Long Island in a swimming pool. He has the Triple B. Can somebody answer me why MJF still has the Triple B? Please, somebody please. So it doesn't make sense. He should not have the title. Are the Bucks aligned with him? Did Tony Khan align with him? what is going on that MJF has the title? Because technically, MJF should not have the Triple B, but that's me, guys. But he keeps MJF because keep throwing fuel to the fire, keep talking shit about Andrade. Now, I want Andrade to go forward, but I don't think that Andrade takes this one personally. They might be the last two in the ring, and MJF wins it all. And as of right now, it would be a better story with MJF and Will Ospreay because he feels like Will Ospreay stole his or helped him lose his title. Do I think the match will be better with Will and Andrade? Definitely. They're a better combination of wrestlers together. But the story-wise, it does make sense for MJF to be there. MJF, I feel like, doesn't need to be there. I've said it multiple times. He's been multiple champions of world champions of AEW, tag team champions of Ring of Honor. MJF has, I think, been an international champion at one point. So it's like MJF has done his thing. He's been champion multiple times in AEW. Let somebody else get some shine. That's just me, guys. There was a face-off or somewhat of a face-off with Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Moné, but they were in separate rooms. So you had what's her name? Renee interview the two of them, and they kind of had like two screens on top, one screen on the bottom, and they were talking. They pretty much started going back and forth. Willow was like, the reason why I'm here is because the crowd wanted me. The reason why I'm here because the crowd was behind me. I did what you couldn't do in a shorter amount of time. And she throwing shade on Mercedes. And Mercedes just started calling her a bitch. I'm going to beat you. You did embarrass me, blah, blah, blah. They started going back and forth. Finally, they were like, fuck this. Where are you? They go try to find each other. But Mercedes, one step ahead, ambushes Willow. They start fighting to the point they start fighting all the way to the ring and all the way back. Both the ladies looked tremendous, to be honest with you. But they kept going back and forth. Even security got thrown around a little bit. I think they had like 20 dudes and they were like, oh, there might be fines and stuff. But let's see what it is, guys. Now, this was a great build for All In for Mercedes and Willow. Now, there was a little part two that happened tonight that Willow also told Maya World, congratulations for winning your match. And she goes, hey, but I did say that if I won, you'd be the first in line for a championship. So how about this Saturday we run it? She goes, yeah. But just remember, you're talking about Mercedes, but I can possibly be the champion. Don't see My World getting there too much, but My World's getting a lot of rub or, a help from a lot of the veterans in the locker room. She got the rub from Willow there. She also got the rub by pinning Chris Statlander and beating Persephone and beating Sheeta all in one match. They're building her up, guys. They're building her up. Now, even during when Mercedes and Willow were going back and forth, they kept calling Mercedes kept calling Willow a bully, which I thought was weird. Now, I thought if Willow would have said that about Mercedes, that would have made sense. But to call Willow a bully, that was just off to me. But that was a great build, honestly, for All In. I actually can't wait for that, to be honest with you. That's gonna be like one hell of a match. Gonna be a long card of All In. I think it's probably like 12 matches like they usually do, but I'm okay with that. And then Swerve and Nana show up on the screen, and Nana just looks at Swerve and he goes, "You want to talk, boss?" And Swerve's like, "Yo, Hangman, if you didn't mean that, don't say that. If you didn't mean that, don't say that." So again, the New Day, or at least Kofi and Austin Creed are gonna join with Swerve. Is it possible the New Day and Swerve win a title once they join? Yes, it is. If they let Hangman join Brodito and right away become champions, I don't see why they couldn't do the same thing with Kofi and Xavier or Austin Creed rather with Swerve. Makes sense. They can make those trios a little bit better to see every day. Yes, it's going to be another short title reign, but you have the dogs they can go against. You have Ricochet's team, Lethal Twist, and the Demand they can go against. They have the Death Riders they can go against. There's a lot of trios now. So Top Flight can go against them or Skyflight, So there's a lot of trios now. The Bang Bang Gang could jump in that. So I'm kind of excited for what the trio going to happen with the trios titles with these two new guys added in. It's going to be a new day, guys. What do y'all think? Now, you had the match with Nigel McGuinness and Hechicero. Now, I could have sworn Nigel was hurt. They did say that, but he also said he's going to still wrestle. He came out with his like foot taped up, which he was hobbling to the ring. I don't know if this is legit injury. And he's just trying to push through it because he wants to wrestle at home or close to home. Now, this was a decent match. With his injury, I felt like Nigel McGuinness should have lost, but he actually pulls it off and beats Hechicero, moving one step closer. So him and Moxley advance. Now, you do have a couple matches that are going to happen on Saturday. I see it being Mox versus um, what's it called? Mox versus Claudio. No, sorry, Mox versus Eddie Kingston. Because I see Eddie Kingston beating him, and I think it was Nigel moved forward. I forgot who's in the last match. Oh, Orange Cassidy and Kyle. I don't know who can win out of those two personally. Hopefully Kyle wins. I think Cassidy might be a little too comedic for the other guys. Won't make sense for me. I think the better matches would probably be Kyle. Let's say Kyle versus Nigel. Then you have Eddie Kingston versus Mox. I'm just hoping that, or maybe Eddie Kingston and Mox meet at the end. But we'll see, guys. I think Eddie Kingston's gonna take this one. I thought it was gonna be Eddie Kingston or Jay White. My first pick was Eddie Kingston. Second pick being Jay White. Jay White's already out, so now I only got Eddie Kingston left. But I think that's who's gonna take that one. This match I wasn't too excited about. Don't know too much about Nigel. It just said, I like seeing him in the ring. So it was just a decent match, honestly. But you did also have the family versus Kenny Omega and the Bucks for the main event. Now, this match here was, I felt like, showing that Kenny Omega is definitely a heel. He just doesn't like the Don Callis family. So technically he's a heel to everybody else, but not to the family, but whatever. The family comes out first, the Bucks come out, and before Kenny Omega comes out, Will Ospreay kind of stops him and goes, "Yo, why are you talking shit about my son?" Whatever, and they kind of piece it up. Not piece it up, but they kind of got broken up. Kenny goes out. Now, I was happy to see Lance Archer. I'm not gonna lie, because I haven't seen Lance Archer in a minute. I've been saying that he should have more TV time, so finally they put Lance Archer on Dynamite. But excuse me, this match was okay. They went all over the place. The Bucks do their thing. There was a lot of good combinations from the teams. I could say that for sure. What was odd though, not odd, but we knew that Kenny wasn't losing with the Bucks. They all have matches at Wembley, so it doesn't make sense for them to lose right now. After the match, the family loses again, like I mentioned. That's 2 L's without Don Callis. So the rest of the family gets in. They start beating down on the Bucks and Kenny. Now, you did have, what's it called? Copeland and Cage come out. They go make the save. But you had Copeland taking his sweet ass time coming to the ring. Like, he let him get in there. Now, there was a moment, though, the Bucks was holding, I forgot who the Bucks were holding. And, oh no, Christian Cage was holding one of the guys from the family. And they super kicked Christian Cage. Copeland saw that. He got pissed. So he starts pushing on. They're like, yo, what the fuck? It's not the first time. Blah, blah, blah. They start going at it. Now, after that all happens, everybody starts wrestling to the back, Will Ospreay finally comes out. And he goes, hey, man, you told me to come see you after the match. So what's up? He was like, yeah, you're right. I did. Now, security, get him out of here. So he's using his EVP status again. Kenny Omega's a fucking heel, guys. Like, I didn't feel like it was necessary, but I understand because it makes the story a little bit better that there's a heel versus a face. This could have just been 2 guys going at it. But you do have Kenny Omega and them get into it with Will Ospreay, and he puts Will through a table. But when he puts Will through a table, he kind of rolls out of it, and it's kind of like going like this, like screaming. Kenny Omega's going nuts, bro. He's snapping. But what's happening? Because again, Kenny Omega technically is a face, but when he's talking to Will Ospreay, he's acting like a fucking heel. I don't know, guys. I felt like this was a great build for All In. I don't watch Collision often. I usually just catch the highlights personally, but they're building up Maya World to be one of the next women's champion for sure. They're building up the Mercedes versus Willow at All In. They're building up John Moxley versus whoever he wrestles with. I think it's going to be Eddie Kingston at the end. They're building up the trios division with possibly a New Day coming. It's just going to be one hell of a card for All In, and I feel like this was a great build for it. Now, I know people complaining about it. Some people are saying that they didn't understand some of the matches and they didn't understand some of the stories. You can go on HBO Max or YouTube and watch some of the stuff back and try to get caught up. But other than that, guys, it was a great episode of Dynamite. Great build for All In. The only thing I didn't like, again, was a match with Nigel and Hechicero. I feel like Hechicero should have put that one on. They should have let him win. But that's just me. But so that means actually the family lost all 3 matches they had, But other than that, guys, great episode of Dynamite. Thanks for watching. Have a great one.